Welcome back to WWE Discuss, your ultimate destination for every jaw-dropping return, shocking betrayal, and unpredictable twist that keeps fans on the edge of their seats. Tonight, we're diving into a match that was anything but ordinary, a showdown so intense, emotional, and chaotic that it redefined what it means to battle for supremacy in WWE. This is the epic tale of how CM Punk, Roman Reigns, and Sami Zayn came together for a one-night alliance on Smackdown to face off against a destructive trio made up of Seth Rollins, the powerhouse Bron Breakker, and the returning juggernaut Bronson Reed. This wasn't just another main event. It was a turning point that shattered alliances, reignited old rivalries, and revealed fractures in the very core of WWE's current landscape. To truly understand the magnitude of what happened, we have to rewind to the aftermath of Saturday Night Main Event, where Seth Rollins made a bold move. No longer content with simply chasing championships, he made it clear that his eyes were set on something far more dangerous: absolute power and control over WWE. He began carving out his own faction, starting with the raw strength of Bron Breakker, a rising star with aggression and brutality to spare. But Rollins wasn't finished yet. The final, shocking piece came into place when Bronson Reed made his return. Fans expected him to go after Rollins, but instead, Reed stunned the WWE Universe by joining forces with him, forming a unit built on chaos, dominance, and destruction. Together, the trio went on a rampage. CM Punk and Sami Zayn were caught in the crosshairs. After a brutal backstage ambush and a violent in-ring beatdown, Punk and Zayn quickly realized they were outnumbered and needed backup. Little did they know, someone else had been watching from the shadows, none other than Roman Reigns. After weeks away from television, Roman had been keeping a close eye on the unraveling bloodline and the rise of Seth's new faction. It became clear to him that the game had changed. This was no longer just about family loyalty, it was about survival. Roman Reigns, despite his dominance, knew that standing alone against Seth, Bron, and Reed would be suicide. In a moment that stunned the WWE Universe, Roman Reigns made his presence known last week on Smackdown. He walked into the locker room where CM Punk and Sami Zayn were preparing for the fight of their lives. No words were wasted. There were no handshakes or forced smiles, just three battle-hardened warriors with one shared mission: dismantle the force Seth Rollins had unleashed. And then came the night of the match. From the start of SmackDown, the energy was electric. The anticipation was palpable. The entire show built toward the main event, with highlights of the carnage Seth's faction had caused airing throughout. We saw Bron Breakker obliterate Punk through the announcer's table. We saw Bronson Reed crush Sami Zayn's body against the steel steps. And we saw Seth Rollins bask in it all, manipulating the chaos with the precision of a master strategist. Meanwhile, Roman Reigns was shown arriving at the arena, alone. No Solo Sikoa, no Paul Heyman, just the tribal chief, laser-focused and prepared for war. As the match neared, cameras captured CM Punk taping up his fists, exchanging a few heavy words with Sami Zayn. "We do this together. All or nothing." Roman, off to the side, gave a single nod. "We finish this." And then the moment arrived. The lights dimmed. The fans erupted. First came Seth Rollins, clad in all black, flanked by his muscle, Bron Breakker and Bronson Reed. They marched to the ring like a storm ready to tear through anything in their path. Sami Zayn hit the ramp next, fueled by passion, determination, and heart. CM Punk followed, the iconic voice of the voiceless with something to prove. Finally, Roman Reigns emerged to an overwhelming ovation. But this was not the strutting, smug Roman of recent years. This was a focused, serious Roman Reigns, the conqueror, the warlord. The bell rang, and chaos took hold immediately. Sami Zayn started things off, using his speed against the brute strength of Bronson Reed, but the size difference was insurmountable. Reed flattened Sami with ease. Breakker entered and tossed Sami across the ring like a rag doll. All the while, Seth Rollins stood on the apron, issuing commands with cold precision. Eventually, Sami managed to tag in CM Punk. The crowd exploded as Punk brought the fight, knocking Breakker off the apron, hammering Reed with fists, and finally locking eyes with Seth Rollins. The tension snapped. Years of history and hatred collided. They went at each other like bitter enemies, trading fierce strikes. Punk connected with a roundhouse. Seth retaliated with a ripcord knee. Punk tried for the GTS, but Seth slipped away and escaped the ring. That escape triggered Roman Reigns' moment. He entered the match, and the arena erupted again. Roman flew into the ring and obliterated Reed with a surprise spear. Breakker attempted a sneak attack, but was met with a thunderous Superman punch. Seth, left alone, backed into a corner. Roman charged for another spear, but Rollins ducked and sent Roman crashing into the turnbuckle. Rollins went for the stomp, but Roman caught him midair and countered with a devastating powerbomb. Soon, all 6 competitors were in the ring. CM Punk finally landed the GTS on Reed. Sami Zayn connected with a hell of a kick on Breakker. And Roman Reigns finished the war with a brutal spear on Seth Rollins. 1, 2, 3. The bell rang, and the crowd exploded in celebration as CM Punk, Sami Zayn, and Roman Reigns stood tall, victorious in battle. But the night didn't end there. What followed was even more chilling. As the 3 men stood in triumph, the camera cut to the ramp. Seth Rollins and Bron Breakker stood frozen, shaken, no longer smiling. This wasn't the cocky, confident faction from earlier in the night. Their demeanor had changed. Seth's eyes narrowed. Breakker's smirk vanished. The enforcer, Roman, stared straight at them and drew a finger slowly across his throat in a symbolic, silent warning. This was no longer about competition. This was about vengeance. The message was clear. You crossed a line, and now there's a price to pay. Backstage, chaos unfolded. Paul Heyman was caught pacing furiously. Seth Rollins was seen throwing objects in a rage. Bron Breakker stormed out of the locker room, frustrated. These were not the actions of men in control. They were the signs of a faction shaken to its core. Roman didn't need to shout or deliver a promo. His mere presence, his calm, calculated menace said it all. As the night closed, he walked away in silence. No celebration, no words, just the promise of more destruction to come. Roman Reigns may have joined forces for a common goal tonight, but make no mistake, his ambitions are still his own. The war may be won, but the battle for power in WWE is far from over. Backstage, Seth Rollins raged in front of the cameras, shouting that this wasn't the end. They needed 3 legends to stop us, he screamed. Next time, we burn the whole thing down. With Money in the Bank right around the corner, the stakes are rising, and the battlefield is changing once again. Seth's faction may be bruised, but they are not broken. And CM Punk, Sami Zayn, and Roman Reigns now have a giant target on their backs. The WWE Universe is left with questions. Will Roman return to handling bloodline matters, or will he stay to hunt Seth once more? Will CM Punk finally aim for the championship spotlight? And how will Seth Rollins retaliate? Will he bring